What's going on, Eagles Nation? Welcome back to another round of real talk about everything happening in Philly football. You know how we do it here, straight from the heart, with no sugarcoating, just raw energy about this team we love. There's a lot to get into today, but before we start breaking down all the moves and all the noise, let's take a second to talk about the big one. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is officially out. He's moving on, signing with the Chicago Bears. And that means we can stop speculating about whether he was coming back or not. The conversation's done. He's wearing different colors now, and we'll get to see him again when the Eagles face Chicago on that Black Friday game. He even said he's going to play this Sunday, which is wild because that man wasted no time getting back on the field. Respect to him for that. And look, whatever anyone says, CJ will always be a part of Philly. Once an Eagle, always an Eagle. He brought energy, he brought attitude. He brought that championship swagger, and for that, fans will always remember him. It's just business, man. Things change fast in the NFL. One moment you're thinking nobody's going to give you another shot, and the next you're suiting up for a whole new team. So, salute to C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Hope he finds success there. Except, of course, when he plays us. Now, let's slide into what's been heating up the conversations lately. Jalen Hurts and his growing trust in that third wide receiver spot. You remember how last year everyone was talking about how Hurts didn't really spread the ball much to his WR3S? People went after him for it, saying he only trusted his main guys. But now, man, you can see the difference. He's starting to let it fly to everyone. You see those deep throws? That perfect ball placement down the sideline. He's giving his guys a real shot to make plays. And it's not just luck. You can tell Jalen's working on that chemistry. Last year, a lot of that hesitation came from past experiences. Think about it. Quez Watkins had some big drops. Jalen Reagor had some rough ones too. And that kind of thing messes with your quarterback's confidence. It's like once those drops start stacking up, it's hard to trust that option again. But now, with Jahan Dotson showing reliability and making those key catches, Hurts is opening up again. You can see it in his reads, his rhythm, the way he's distributing the ball. And that's what makes this new trade so interesting. Howie Roseman went and made another chess move, and this one, man, got everybody talking. The Eagles decided to trade for Michael Carter II from the Jets, sending wide receiver John Mechie III the other way. Now, a lot of people were expecting a defensive line move, maybe an edge rusher or something like that, but instead, Howie went for a nickel cornerback. And when you look at it closely, it makes sense. The Eagles were thin in that nickel spot. Carter II, when he's locked in, can be a physical, aggressive player. A couple of years ago, he was considered one of the top nickel guys in the league. But his time in New York fell apart. There were reports he wasn't happy with the coaching system, and he even gave up about $5 million in guarantees just to get out of there and come to Philly. That says a lot about how bad it got over there, but it also says something about how much he wanted this opportunity. Now, I've been watching his tape, and it's kind of a mixed bag. 1 minute, you're watching him fly around the field like a missile, laying down solid hits, blowing up screen plays, and showing real aggression. But the next minute, he's out there looking lost, missing assignments, getting beat on coverages that should be easy to read. It's like he flips between being the guy and being completely out of sync. You can tell he's got the physicality, but the football IQ moments, that's where the question marks come in. Eagles fans have already seen clips breaking down his play. You can see the good. Those plays where he crashes the block, fights through traffic, and makes the tackle. That's the kind of toughness you love from a nickelback. But then there are moments where he seems to forget the call. Like, it's clearly man coverage, everyone's locked on their guy, and he just lets his receiver go free. That turned into an 18-yard touchdown in one of the breakdowns, and that's the kind of thing you can't have in a tight NFC matchup. Still, what stands out about him is effort. Even when he messes up, he hustles. He strains for every play, never gives up on the rep. You can't teach that kind of motor. You just hope that in a better system, with better communication and leadership around him, those mistakes start to fade. Maybe under the Philly coaching staff, he can rediscover that form he had a couple of years back when people were calling him a top 5 nickel corner in the league. To me, this move feels like insurance. It's not necessarily about coming in and taking someone's job right away. It's about depth. It's about what happens if Ja'Cory Bennett doesn't pan out, or if Adoree Jackson keeps battling injuries, or if Khalil Ringo still needs time to develop. Philly didn't have much flexibility inside. Perry Nickerson and Matt McWilliams were the backups, and both those guys were more natural on the outside. So now you bring in Carter II, who's experienced, still young, and hungry to prove himself. Plus, it gives the team room to experiment. Maybe they shift Cooper Dean to the outside a little more, test his range there, while Carter learns the nickel system. If it works, you suddenly have versatility. If it doesn't, well, it's a low-risk move for a player who once had real promise. I can't hate that kind of decision. And of course, you know Howie Roseman. He's never done. Reports are already saying he's still working the phones, looking for the next move. So, don't be surprised if another piece drops soon. Maybe even that edge rusher everyone keeps asking for. But for now, this trade shows he's not just reacting to injuries or rumors. He's trying to get ahead of potential problems before they happen. Now, let's shift to the guy who's been in all the headlines lately, A.J. Brown. Man, every week there's something about A.J., right? But this time, it's not about drama between players or sideline arguments. It's about what drives him. A recent article dug deep into A.J.'s mindset, and it painted a real picture of who he is as a competitor. It's not just about wanting the ball more. It's about wanting to be great. A.J. wants to win badly, but he also wants to dominate while doing it. Think back to the 2023 season. He had that insane stretch of 6 straight games with over 120 yards, breaking records that even Megatron set. But even then, he wasn't satisfied. Why? Because the team wasn't winning the way he wanted. That tells you something. This isn't a guy chasing stats just for the sake of it. He's chasing excellence. But this year, things flipped a bit. The team's winning, but his personal numbers took a dip. 2 catches for 7 yards in a game. That's not what A.J. Brown's used to, and you can feel his frustration. He said it before, he wants to win, but he also wants to be the best. And you can't fault him for that. Every top receiver feels the same way. Devonta Smith's even said similar things, though he's more quiet about it. The difference is how they handle it. Jalen Hurts stays locked in, all about the win, no matter what. But the receivers, man, they live for those moments. They want to make the big plays, they want to prove their worth. It's not selfishness, it's part of that wide receiver DNA. A.J. even mentioned on a podcast once that stats matter because they tie into how players get paid and how long they stay on the team. If the team's winning but your numbers are down, the front office might start thinking they can replace you with someone cheaper. That's the business side fans don't always think about. The issue isn't what A.J. feels, it's how he expresses it. When you take that frustration to social media, that's when it explodes. The media jumps on it. Fans start arguing, narratives get built, and suddenly it's a whole storm. If he kept it inside the locker room, it would probably stay a non-issue. But when you post something cryptic online, people will fill in the blanks. And then, even if it wasn't your intention, it becomes a headline. That's what happens when you're one of the faces of the team. It's wild, because when Devonta's frustrated, he never shows it publicly. He keeps his cool, stays calm, handles it like a pro during interviews. A.J., though, wears his emotions on his sleeve. You can tell how much he cares. He's passionate, and that's part of what makes him great. But that same passion can create chaos when it spills over online. Still, that article gave people a look at the human side of A.J. Brown. The kid who came from a tough background, who turned all that struggle into motivation. You read it, and you understand why he's wired the way he is. He's not a diva. He's just obsessed with being the best version of himself and helping the team get to the top. That's why, even with all the noise, you know he's going to show up on Sunday ready to ball out. So, let's get into this because what Kevin Patullo and the Eagles offense pulled off last game was pure genius. I'm talking next level, chestnut checkers type of football. Everyone saw Saquon Barkley explode on that run early in the game, right? That wasn't just luck, that was calculated. It was the product of perfect preparation, formation manipulation, and film study that left the Giants' defense completely confused. It looked like the Eagles knew exactly what the Giants were going to do before the ball was even snapped. Now here's where it gets crazy. The Eagles lined up in that same offensive look they used against the Minnesota Vikings the week before, the one called 11T personnel. For anyone new to that, 11 means 1 running back, 1 tight end, and the T stands for an extra tackle lined up to give the formation more power and deception. The Vikings had already seen that look. They thought it was a run-heavy formation, so they brought a safety down to stop the run. But Jalen Hurts saw that, and boom, hit a deep shot to Devonta Smith for 79 yards. The Vikings were cooked. So what does Kevin Patullo do against the Giants? He lines up in that same exact look again, second play of the game. The Giants' defensive coordinator sees it and probably thinks, okay, this is that same formation they used to hit a deep pass, so let's keep both safeties high. And that right there was the trap. The Eagles baited them. With two safeties deep, there's one less defender in the box, and that means Saquon Barkley gets a perfect one-on-one matchup against a safety in open space. And you already know how that ends. Saquon wins that battle every single time. The line opened up a lane like a red carpet, and he was gone. This is what makes Philly's offense so dangerous now. You can't guess against them, because whatever adjustment you make, they've already got the counter ready. You load the box to stop the run, Hurts will torch you through the air. You keep your safeties deep to prevent the pass, they'll gash you on the ground. It's an impossible situation for defensive coordinators. The more film they watch, the worse it gets, because every formation now has 2 or 3 different looks attached to it. It's the definition of balance and unpredictability. And the best part about it is how it fits the personnel. Devonta Smith and A.J. Brown are monsters in one-on-one coverage, so defenses have to respect them. But with Barkley back there, you can't just sit back in coverage either. It's that constant mental pressure that wears defenses down, play after play. You could see it in the Giants' body language as the game went on. They started second-guessing everything. Safeties hesitating, linebackers peeking into the backfield too long, corners biting on play fakes. That's what this offense does when it's clicking. It doesn't just beat you physically, it makes you doubt yourself. Patullo deserves real credit for that design. It's not just about clever plays, it's about setting traps weeks in advance. They ran that formation against the Vikings knowing they'd show it again. That's film room brilliance. The Giants took the bait, and it cost them big. You could almost see the moment it clicked for Hurts. That confidence in his reads, that smooth handoff, the trust in the system. That's what happens when everyone's on the same page. But it also shows how much this offense has evolved. In the past, the Eagles sometimes leaned too much on RPOs and predictable looks. Defenses could key in on tendencies. Now it feels like every snap is a riddle. You see A.J. Brown lined up tight, and you don't know if he's blocking or breaking out on a quick slant. You see that extra tackle on the line, and it could be a power run or a play-action bomb. This mix of deception and discipline is exactly what makes a good team terrifying. And don't overlook the line. Jason Kelce, Landon Dickerson, Jordan Mailata. These guys are doing dirty work that makes those plays possible. The way they adjust protections and open lanes on the fly is insane. That chemistry between the line and Hurts is what allows everything to unfold smoothly. And when you have a running back like Saquon who can turn a tiny crease into a highlight reel, you don't need to overcomplicate things. Just give him daylight, and he'll do the rest. FlyEaglesFly News family, smash subscribe and hit like. Your support keeps the freshest Philadelphia Eagles updates flying in. Drop your take in the comments, and let's talk birds. The NFL world is buzzing tonight with a shockwave that has left fans and analysts alike scrambling to process the news. Sources indicate that the Philadelphia Eagles and the Tennessee Titans have agreed to a blockbuster trade, a move that could reshape the landscape of the league. While neither team has released a full statement, whispers from insiders suggest that Eagles general manager Howie Roseman has pulled off one of the most audacious deals in recent memory, leaving the football community stunned. According to sources close to both organizations, the trade involves key pieces that could immediately alter the dynamics on both sides of the ball. Although official numbers and player names remain closely guarded, speculation is running rampant on social media, with fans already debating who will benefit most from this seismic shakeup. Analysts are calling it a bold gamble for Philadelphia, a team that has not been shy about making aggressive moves to cement their status as championship contenders. Meanwhile, Tennessee's front office is reportedly targeting a mix of youth and experience, aiming to bolster their roster depth and create a more balanced squad for the upcoming season. The timing of this trade has only added fuel to the rumor mill, coming in the middle of a season where both teams are jockeying for playoff positioning. The move could signal a win-now mentality for the Eagles, while the Titans appear willing to bet on long-term strategic gains. Social media has erupted with fans reacting in shock, disbelief, and excitement, with hashtags trending that reference the teams, ROSEMAN, and even cryptic hints at the players involved. Sports talk shows have been flooded with debate panels dissecting every possible scenario, from how this will affect draft strategies to the potential ripple effects on free agency this offseason. Though details remain under wraps, one thing is certain. Howie Roseman has once again proven that he is not afraid to defy conventional wisdom, shaking up the NFL in a way few executives dare. As the league braces for official confirmations and player statements, speculation continues to mount. Could this trade be the turning point of the season for either franchise? Only time will tell, but the whispers are growing louder, and one thing is clear: Eagles and Titans fans are in for a wild ride. The rumor has officially taken flight, and the football world is watching with bated breath. That's a wrap from FlyEaglesFly News. If you want the fastest Eagles updates, subscribe, drop a like, and turn on the bell. Sound off in the comments. Let's talk birds.